Hey peeps, what's going on? Alright, so let me just tell you, warn you, there's gonna be some outside noise, particularly these bikes. Man, crazy. So this story came back across my desk. It was like about 2 or 3 days ago. I decided I was gonna share it with you. It was like wasn't widely reported, but it was definitely in some media, particularly local media in Pennsylvania. So it's a story of Peter Spencer, a Jamaican. Don't know if that ring a bell, but he was killed on a hunting trip. Okay, so the way the story goes is that he was invited on a hunting trip by a former co-worker. So the co-worker invited him on a trip. I'm just gonna mention the fact that he was the only black person on that trip. I'm mentioning that because it really played up as far as the case go. That was like a huge element, as far as deciding on intent and motivation and all that good stuff. So he was invited by a co-worker to go on this hunting trip. So while on the hunting trip, he was shot 9 times. Okay. At first, it was reported. Yeah, yeah. Please forgive me for the noise. Anyway, at first it was reported that he was shot twice in the buttocks, and then I think the rest of the bullets fell somewhere between his chest and stomach. Okay, so 9 shots in total. Okay, so it was the hunting trip. It took place in Venango County, and that's in Pennsylvania. Okay, and it was a remote area, hunting remote, and they had a cabin. Cabin was rented. He was the only black person there, and the person who invited him, the co-worker, actually was the one who shot him. Okay, so eventually, well, initially they were well, they weren't arrested. I say they were questioned and then basically released. The um, the district attorney for the Venango County eventually ruled it as self-defense. So the group story was he was taking drugs. He was on mushroom, and also, which they said they found in his body, and also marijuana. And at some point on the trip, it got to the point where he became threatening, threatening to shoot members of the group, uh, threatening to shoot up the cabin, and in self-defense, the person who invited him shot him 9 times. Okay. Now the family, um, as far as the independent autopsy that was done by the family, found out that 5 of those bullets, I think five, were actually in his back proper, and then the other four, of course, between chest and abdomen. Like I said, it was eventually ruled as self-defense, and it just the family actually vowed to pursue it, but nothing happened. The last thing was that it was referred to the feds, so the DOJ would basically come in and investigate whether or not it was a hate crime. But that happened in 2021. So let's say December. So starting at 22, that's almost like nearly 4 years now. and I haven't been able to find anything in regards to a ruling or in regards to any action that was taken by the feds. If anybody has any additional information, please, I would really love to know what was the how that story actually ended. Um, I'm not really the hunting type, and I don't know. It's just I don't know. The question is, people are actually wondering whether or not, you know, he was the prey, and if it was that, if that was the design. Nobody will know, you know, to be honest with you, because if the group is there and everybody's saying the same thing, so and in cases like this, you really don't want to go outside and start doing the conspiracy theory kind of a deal. I mean, America is like very popular for that, so you don't want to do that. But I would really like to know what was the finding of the feds. So if you have any information, if you come across anything, I've done some extensive research and I just basically can't find anything. The last thing was that, as I said, the district attorney for the Venango County basically ruled it as self-defense. Uh, the shooter was a 25-year-old man, and basically no charges were filed. So if you can add anything to this story, would appreciate it. Take care, be safe, stay off the hunting trips. All right, peace.